You know what's funny? He used to tell me I was too emotional, like it was a crime to care, a flaw to feel things deeply. Every time I cried, he'd sigh, roll his eyes, and say, "Here we go again," as if my feelings were an inconvenience, a tedious show he had to sit through. And the craziest part, I started to believe him. I found myself apologizing for having feelings, for being human. "I'm sorry, I'm just being sensitive," I'd whisper, trying to shrink my own heart. At first, I thought maybe he was right. Maybe I was just too sensitive. I started to wonder if normal people didn't get hurt so easily. Did they not overthink every single word, every slight change in tone? Did their hearts not start racing like a trapped bird when someone said those 4 dreaded words, "We need to talk"? I was convinced I was broken, that I needed to be fixed. So, I tried. I really tried to fix me. I became quiet. I learned to bite my tongue. I stopped asking questions when he would go silent for days at a time, leaving me in a state of anxious confusion. I stopped reacting when he would cancel our plans at the last minute with a flimsy excuse. Most importantly, I stopped crying in front of him. I'd swallow the lump in my throat, force a small tight smile, and pretend it was all okay. And you know what he said then? He looked at me with this sense of approval and said, "That's better. You're finally learning to be chill." But it wasn't chill. It was empty. It was a hollow version of peace that felt more like a cage. I was performing, playing the role of the cool girlfriend who was low maintenance and easy to be around. But inside, I was screaming. I remember one night so clearly. He came home late, hours after he said he would. His excuse was clumsy, full of holes, and didn't even make sense. The old me would have been hurt, would have questioned him, would have wanted to understand. But the new me, I just smiled. I nodded my head, pretending to believe every word. Then, later that night, I sat in the shower, letting the hot water cascade over my face, so the sound of it would drown out my sobs. I couldn't let him hear me crying, because, as I had learned, girls who are too emotional don't get loved, they get left. That was the lie I had started to live by. Weeks turned into months, and I became a version of myself that I didn't even recognize in the mirror. I was the cool girl, the one who doesn't care, doesn't complain, and most importantly, doesn't feel. I was a ghost in my own life, floating through the days on autopilot. And you know what the worst part is? The ultimate irony, he started saying, "You've changed. You're not the same person I fell for." I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to shake him and yell, "You did this. You made me this way. You polished away every part of me that you found inconvenient until nothing was left." But I didn't. I just gave another one of those empty smiles. Then one morning, I woke up and felt absolutely nothing. It was a profound, terrifying numbness. He sent his usual text, "Good morning, babe," with a little heart emoji. For years, that simple message had given me a little spark, a flutter in my chest. But that morning, it was gone, completely. It was like someone had just unplugged my heart from its power source. And that scared me more than any argument, more than any silent treatment ever could, because my whole life, I thought love meant being wanted, being chosen. But in that moment of pure emptiness, I realized that love without honesty, love without the freedom to feel your emotions, isn't love at all. It's a performance, and I was tired of being on stage. I got out of bed, walked to the bathroom, and looked at myself in the mirror. I stared into my own eyes for a long time, and I whispered, "I miss me. I miss the girl who laughed too loud at silly jokes, who cried during sad movies and commercials, who cared so much about everything and everyone." She was gone. And for what? So I could be easier to love. That was the day everything changed. I made a promise to myself, right there in front of that mirror. I promised that I would rather be too much for someone than be nothing at all for myself. So, I started the slow, painful process of feeling again. I let myself cry when I needed to, without apology. I let myself laugh with my whole body when something was genuinely funny. I let myself feel joy and anger and disappointment and hope. And when he inevitably said, "You're acting crazy again," I looked him straight in the eye and said, "No, I'm just alive again." The strength in my own voice surprised me. I walked away that day, my entire body shaking, but it wasn't because I was scared of being alone. It was because I was finally breathtakingly free. And the silence that followed my departure, it wasn't lonely, it was peaceful. It was the sound of my own soul breathing a sigh of relief. Because the truth is, when you stop feeling, you stop living. And I had spent enough time being someone else's version of calm. Now I choose my own version of peace. A peace that includes the full, messy, beautiful spectrum of human emotion. My name is MK, and this was my story. If anyone ever tells you that you are too emotional, please just smile. It's not an insult. It's a confirmation that you still have a heart that works. Don't ever let anyone dim that for their own comfort. Thank you so much for listening. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories. You are not alone.